Welcome to Stories of Amazing Grace. The views and opinions expressed on Stories of Amazing Grace are those of the guests appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Madison Church of Christ or the producer of this program. Enjoy. Good evening. I'm Larry Souder, and welcome to Stories of Amazing Grace. We're coming to you from Vicksburg Chapel at the Madison Church of Christ in Madison, Tennessee. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. Some of you are watching on Facebook or listening on radio through the facilities of World Christian Broadcasting, and for a live audience. Glad that you're here with us today. Where our theme scripture comes from Romans 8:38 through 39. I'm sure that nothing can separate us from God's love, not life or death, not angels or spirits, not the present nor the future, not powers above or powers below. Nothing in all creation can separate us from God's love for us in Christ Jesus our Lord. Amen? Amen. Our guest tonight, 18-year-old Hannah Tracy, and a story of great perseverance. Hannah has a rare disease that affects less than 1 in 1 million people. I believe that's correct. And that disease is Oculofaciocardiodental Syndrome. Is that close, Hannah? Is that close? Okay. We'll get the right pronunciation when you get up here. She's already had 70 surgeries. Her first when she was 2 months old, and she just had her 4th knee operation. Hannah's had several eye surgeries, 3 open heart surgeries. She never complains or asks, why me? Instead, she has a very positive attitude and trust in God. Well, you're going to meet her in 1 minute. But first, I want to show you a commercial, or 2 commercials, 2 30-second spots that I did many years ago. And these involve some people that you used to know. They have now deceased, James Worsham and Charlie Wakefield. Anybody remember those 2 men? Some of you do? Okay. Well, they're deceased, but their message is timeless. Watch.
He's been through a lot of miles. Oh, he's traveled the rough roads and the good. He's not as fast as he used to be, but still stable and can always be depended upon. He's got some age, sure, but he's more valuable than ever. Gray hair is a crown of splendor, a message of value from the churches of Christ. Remember the special times you had with your grandfather years ago? You talked, and he listened. Oh, he didn't always say yes to what you asked him, but you knew that he loved you and was always there for you. Well, just like Grandfather, God cares too. Take time today to talk with God. He still listens, and he still cares. A message of promise from the churches of Christ.
And please make welcome Hannah Tracy and her father, Doug Tracy. Come on up. Have a seat. And you came all the way from St. Louis to be with us. Thank you so much. Glad that you're here. We finally meet in person. And this disease, pronounce that for me.
Oculofaciocardiodental Syndrome. We just say OFCD because that's a lot easier than spelling it out.
And what is this thing, and how does it affect you?
So, it affects my eyes, facial features, my heart, and my teeth. And there's a few other things that it affects that aren't like in the name of it, one of which is my knees, which is why I just had my 4th knee surgery. And yeah, we knew that there was probably something, like a syndrome that I probably had, because when I was born, we just thought I had a heart problem. And then later on, we found out I had cataracts, and we were like, oh, I guess, we just thought it was a coincidence. So, a few years went by, and then at 9 or 10, a geneticist tested me for this syndrome, and turns out that I had it, and my mom actually has it too, and just a more mild case than me.
So she has it as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Doug, what went through your mind when this baby was born and you found out she had this?
Well, nothing has been boring with Hannah ever since we found out she was coming. No, we actually, Hannah's mom and I had a miscarriage about a year before Hannah came along, and so when her mom was pregnant again, we were both just kind of nervous having gone through that and wanted to just make sure everything was good. And so her doctor was great and said, hey, I will send you to this bigger hospital in St. Louis, do a level 3 ultrasound, look at the organs, make sure everything's okay, just to put your mind at ease. And that was the first of many things that God kind of intervened in Hannah's life in the process, because had that not happened, we would have never known about the heart issue or some of the things that came along, and Hannah probably wouldn't be here had that not happened. So that was kind of the first step with that. But did the ultrasound, we're excited, we're going to find out if it's a boy or a girl, and doctor came back in and said there's a heart problem, there's a 80% chance of this, 90% chance of that, 70% chance of that, and hate to give bad news, and walked out. And so we were just kind of stunned. They talked to us about terminating a pregnancy, went through all that, and we said, no, that's not going to happen. So checked for some things, did the amnio just so we could be ready and prepared for anything that kind of came along, and they said, hey, everything looks good. She's got this heart issue, we'll have the heart surgery, and we'll move on. I said, what are the odds of needing that immediately? They said 0, it'll be about 6 months. Well, in typical Hannah style, when she came in, she needed it right then. So the first heart surgery was actually she was 2 hours old. Helicoptered her down from the hospital she was born at to Children's Hospital in St. Louis, and had her first open heart surgery at 2 hours old. Wow. And then that kind of started her life. So she had 2 hours without a surgery.
But you've had 3 open heart surgeries.
Yeah, my first one was at 2 hours. Second one was at 4 months, and the third one was at 8. Oh, and I have a pacemaker. Yeah.
You have a pacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got that when I was 12. Actually, 2 days before my 13th birthday, I got a pacemaker.
You stay positive though through all this. How do you do that?
I mean, I just try to think about like other people that have it, a lot worse than me, and there's people out there that are suffering a lot worse things than I am, and I mean, even if I could be a negative person, I just don't think I could allow myself to be negative, just because that's my personality and I've always been that way. And I mean, I can't control what happens in my life, so I might as well just try to make the best of it and just go with it. So
I'm glad you say you can't control that, because I'm a negative person, you see, and I can't be positive. That gives me some hope.
Just to give you an example, her last knee surgery, when she went in, the first 2 didn't work. And so she was in pain again, and she went back in, and she said, Dad, I feel so sorry for Dr. Anderson, who was the surgeon. And I said, why do you feel sorry? And she said, because he worked so hard on this knee, and it didn't work, and now he's got to do it again. And it just summarizes kind of her outlook on life. It wasn't, I can't believe this guy didn't fix me the first time. It's, I feel bad for him, because now he's got to do this all over again. And it's just kind of the outlook that she has had her entire life.
And there's another story about eye surgery, too. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I've had out of the 70, I've probably had close to 25 to 30, would you say?
Yeah, probably 30 to 40
well,
eye
yeah,
surgeries.
It's a lot of eye surgeries.
Yeah, I think the one he's talking about is the one that we went down when your retina detached, and you pretty much knew you were going to be losing vision in that eye.
Yeah, because I had already lost it in my right eye.
Right.
When I was younger, my right eye was my better eye. And then I had a surgery that didn't go so well with that eye, and then I woke up and basically had light perception, and then it slowly went away to darkness. So when I found out my retina was detached from my left eye, I panicked, because I was like, I'm going to go completely blind. I can't imagine my life not having any vision. But, by the grace of God, I still have some vision left in my left eye, so I use it, just to the best of my ability. I do have to use Braille because I can't read large print anymore. I did used to do large print.
What is your vision in your left eye?
22,000.
And what do you see over here? A very handsome person with blonde hair. Is that correct?
There are benefits, yes.
Yeah, there are times that, in school, we've watched videos, and my friends look over at me like, you are so glad you can't see this right now. I'm like, yeah, I can imagine. I don't really want to see that.
Let's take a look at some pictures of your hospital stays. This first one here, that's
that was
you?
right after my first open heart surgery when I was.
Yeah, that's about your first week there.
What age is this?
I got glasses when I was.
You're about one there. She got glasses when she was about 3 months old. She was the youngest person ever in the city of St. Louis to have to get prescription glasses.
Wow.
And they were actually to help me see back then, but now they're just to protect my eyes. My glasses don't help me see any better than they would if I didn't have them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're just for looks.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is you with a stuffed animal in the hospital?
Yeah, I got that giraffe from my 4th grade teacher, and I'm pretty sure that was when they were going to fix my retina that he detached.
And this last one here, your hospital stay, is
That was number 70.
Number 70.
This past one, yeah.
And that was a knee surgery.
Mm-hmm.
How are your knees doing now?
I mean, I
She's
don't.
in pain, but she's not going to
Yeah.
tell you that.
You wouldn't tell
it's
me.
still painful, but I mean.
But you're positive, so it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, let's flip through some more of these. This is you reading Braille. How long did it take to learn Braille?
I started in 7th grade. This picture, I was reading a Braille menu at a restaurant, and it took me, I don't know, 2 or 3 years to learn the whole entire Braille code, because there's hundreds and hundreds of different, what we call contractions in Braille.
Uh-huh.
And that's basically just a shortened version of writing a word.
And how does Braille work? There are different cells with
Yeah,
different
so
dots.
Braille is made up of 6 dots, and it's called a Braille cell, and each cell has 6 dots, and there's different combinations of those dots, and whatever combination of dots it is what letter or number it is.
And,
That's me learning to ride a bike.
You can ride a bike?
I was learning to ride a bike without training wheels, and that's kind of challenging when you can't see what's in front of you.
I think I should probably get out of your way if you were riding a bike.
So that was actually in a really big parking lot out of school, so I didn't have to worry about running into things.
But you got some pads on there in case you fall off.
Yes.
That's good. And you ride a horse?
Yeah, that was actually
down
here.
there.
That was in June when I was here.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was really fun. I had been on a horse before, but it had been a while, so I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But the trainer person showed me how to do it, and then she's like, okay, I'm going to see if you can do this by yourself now.
It felt pretty good, huh?
Huh?
It felt pretty good.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And we got a picture here. Is this in Nashville?
Yeah, it's at
Opryland?
what's it called?
That's right,
Ice.
Here.
I guess.
Ice, yeah.
Ice, yeah.
Opryland.
Okay. And we got you flying here. You're in some type of amusement park
Yeah.
with the big blower, big fan underneath you here.
So me and my dad took a trip to Las Vegas in 2015, and it was just the 2 of us because I have what I call a vision bucket list, which was things that I wanted to see if or when I lose the rest of my vision. So one of the things was I wanted to see all the lights and stuff in Las Vegas.
Right.
So this was an indoor skydiving place in Vegas, and that was really cool. I was really nervous that I was just gonna fall to the ground, but the fan actually holds you up and stuff, and it's a really strong fan, and it was
Even more scary since you have limited vision and you're being lifted up in the air.
Yeah, I felt like I was gonna run into things, but I didn't. So
We
it
got
was
the shot of
fun.
here. You at camp. What camp is this?
Yeah, so this is a camp that I've gone to for the past 2 years. It's called Camp Barnabas, and it's a Christian-based camp for any type of special needs kids. And there's different weeks. So the week that I went was, for blind people, and that's just me in my cabin in front of my bed.
That's an amazing camp. I'll just plug that a little bit. There's youth groups from around the country. There were some from Chicago, from Tennessee.
Texas, Alabama.
It's in kind of
anywhere.
southwest Missouri, but a lot of youth groups from around the country will come and be like the buddies and the camp counselors for all these kids. And it's about
Yeah, each camper has a one-on-one buddy that's with them throughout the week.
and it's just a fantastic place where these kids get to just to have fun like a normal camp kid would get to do.
All right, let's go on to the next set here.
That's
This your mother?
my mom, yeah.
Okay.
That was at homecoming my junior year. So this is me and my friend Katie that I met at this program called SOAR. But basically it is a 3-week program where we were on campus of a college in the St. Louis area called Webster University. And they take 12 blind and visually impaired kids, and they basically teach them life skills in pretty much any area that you could think of. Like there is money, clothing, cooking, and she has light perception in both eyes, so she has a little bit worse than me. And she was born with that amount of vision, so she didn't have to. I mean, we were talking to each other like we don't. Like I had to go through the grieving process of losing vision, but she's had to go through not being able to see people's faces and colors and stuff. So
Gotcha.
it's kind of. But she said that she wanted to meet me because she heard my laugh from across the room. She's like, I gotta meet that girl. I love her laugh. So, and a lot of people like know me because of my laugh, and they're like, her laugh is so good. I love her laugh. So yeah, we just became really good friends, and we were actually in the same cabin at camp this past summer. So.
This next shot here is of your sisters.
Yes. So the one on the left, that's my sister Morgan. She's 17. And then the other one is Lauren. She's 14.
And you get along with these girls okay?
Most of the time, sometimes not, but just depends on the day.
Now, you were all over the internet with an interview with
Special books by special kids. Yeah.
and a fellow named Chris did the interview on that. And I think you had some comments that you made on that. You want to be treated just like everyone else. What do you mean by that?
So a lot of times when people see other people that are different, they, don't include them in everything, and they just think, oh, they don't want to be out in the world and do the same things that other people do. So we kind of showed those pictures to show people that blind people can get out in the world and do things just the same as everyone else.
Do you often feel left out of activities?
Not anymore. I used to when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I've realized that a lot of people know me just for being my funny self, and they don't see me as the blind girl or whatever. So, yeah, it's gotten better since I've gotten older. But
The school that you go to, tell me about it. Is it a public school?
Yeah,
school,
it was a public school. I had a aide para person that brailled all my assignments for me, and I was in smaller contained classes. There's a separate wing just for kids with special needs that need to be in those smaller classes. So, and then I have had a lot of friends in there, and we, just joked around and stuff. But
Talk a little bit about your note taker, how you did your
Oh
assignments.
yeah, so I have this like electronic brailler called a note taker, and it's basically like a computer but in braille. And I use that to do all of my assignments, and then I would hook it up to a printer, and then it would print out what I brailled into print for my teachers to read, since none of my teachers knew how to read.
Are you able to read, what comes in Braille? I'm thinking books, magazines, what are you able to read in literature or publications?
Yeah, so books, Bibles are in Braille, except the Bible in Braille, like each book is like this thick because Braille takes up so many pieces of paper.
That's part of the issue. We had the one picture of her at the restaurant. Some restaurants
Oh yeah,
will have
Braille menus. Not all
some
restaurants
will
have
have
Braille
that,
yeah.
menus.
some will not.
Yeah, so that's tough to order sometimes. This other interview that you participated in with Chris, you talked about when you go out, sometimes people stare.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So when I'm out walking around, I use my cane. People call it a stick, but it's really a cane. But they're just not used to seeing, like I said, people that are not the same as them. So you tend to look towards the person that's different. And since I can't see that they're staring, my mom or my dad or whoever's with me will say, sometimes they don't tell me that they were staring because they just don't want to make me feel bad, but I don't really get mad anymore because, one, I don't really care. Second of all, I know it's going to happen because people just don't accept people when they're a little different than them. And I've just had it my whole life, so it doesn't really bother me anymore. But in the interview, my sister Morgan told him that it really bothered her when people would look over at me, and she said that they would give me dirty looks or something. So I think it bothered my sisters a lot too. But we've all just kind of learned to accept it. Some people just don't know.
How should a person approach a blind person?
That is
if I see you in the grocery
store. Very good question, because most people do not know how to do that.
Okay.
So if it's a person that I have seen before, I know people's voices if they're part of my family or close friends or something.
Right.
But if it's a teacher or a friend that I don't see as often, what they usually do is just come up and start talking to me. What you're supposed to do is come up and say who you are, say your name, and then start talking to them. Because if you just come up and start talking to them, what I do, and I bet a lot of other people would do this if they didn't know who they were talking to, is when they are talking to me, I don't pay attention to the conversation. Not because I don't want to, it's because I don't know who's talking to me.
So we need to identify ourselves first.
Yes.
How do we end the conversation? That troubles me when I'm talking to a blind person and I want to walk away. Do I say, well, I'm walking away now? What?
Yeah, kind of. You just tell them that you're leaving so they don't...
Conversation's over, I'm gone.
Yeah, you
have to, right?
Yeah, you just say, I'm going somewhere else now or something. So I don't keep talking to someone that's not really there. I've done that before. It's really embarrassing. Even my own mom sometimes forgets to tell me, Hannah, I'm going upstairs. I'm like, Mom? And then my sister's like, Hannah, she's not down here. I'm like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. Do you hang out a lot with quote, normal friends or mainly special needs friends?
Yeah, I do have a lot of friends with special needs just because of the classes that I was in. I was just around them more, but I do have some friends that are normal, but
and I hate to use that word. I'm not sure what word to use.
I don't know what other word to use because people are saying now that normal is overrated.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess that's kind of true, but yeah. So I do hang out with my special needs friends a lot more, but I go over. The problem is with normal people is that they have activities and they're babysitting, they have jobs and they can drive and just all the stuff that either I can't do or I'm just not doing at the moment.
You wish you could do some of those things, I'm sure.
Yes. I used to wish that I would be able to drive, but I really don't care now because my
She's waiting on those driverless cars.
Oh yeah. That would be a plus, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I used to wish that I could drive, but my sister drives me around now, so, I get around, but...
Kind of like a Beatles song, I get around. Yeah. No, it was the Beatles, it was Beach Boys. Okay, some other pictures here. You do some traveling also, talking about activities.
Yeah, so...
Where is this?
The Grand Canyon.
Not your backyard.
No, I wish.
What could you comprehend of this big hole in the ground? Having limited vision, what did you...
That was the thing that was really hard about that trip was, the rest of my family was admiring the Grand Canyon. I was like, all it is to me was just a bunch of, it looked like just brown dirt everywhere.
Right.
Sometimes when we have a situation like that, we'll take a picture, and then she can take her
that's true.
iPhone and blow up the picture on the iPhone and kind of see
Right.
what the rest of us are
And
seeing.
I guess you're there to describe that as well, of course.
Right, right.
Wow. And the next one here. Now this week we caught you gambling in Las Vegas. How much money did you lose that day?
Yeah, this is just a me and Dad trip. No one else was with us, which was kind of nice.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, I see.
But yeah, that was a really neat trip. Like we were doing something constantly. Like there was one day I think where we were at the hotel and just stayed at the pool, but the rest of the time we were constantly doing something, and it was really fun.
Did you pull on some of those levers on the slot machines while you were there?
No, because I was like, I want to get out of here because it smells like smoke.
Oh. How does God play a role in your life in working with your special need, and trying to overcome that and being positive?
Well, I listen to a lot of Christian music. I love music, and I have since I was little. So I listen to a lot of Christian music and go to church as much as I can, and I consider myself the lucky one. Like I said, there's people out there that are suffering a lot more than I am, and I think that God has really blessed me with, He gave me all these things for a reason, and He gave them to me because He thinks I'm strong enough to be able to go through it. So.
Well, the fact that you can share this story with others, I think, is inspiring.
Yeah, I like to tell other people my story, and just let other people know that just because you've had 70 surgeries and that you're blind, and doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Like, you can still be a person and go out and do stuff. So.
Tell them your favorite verse that I think kind of describes who you are.
So I don't know what book it's from.
2 Corinthians.
Oh yeah, 2 Corinthians is my favorite verse. Is walk by faith, not by sight.
Pretty good. A couple more pictures here. I think we got 2 left. We asked for 10, Hannah. You gave me 18. That's okay.
I know.
And it took 3 months to get it down to that.
It was so hard for me to pick just 10 because there's so many that I wanted to show.
So many. This is
this is my
high school stadium or something?
Yeah, this is my senior picture, and I have my uniform on. There's a special needs dance team at our school that's called Stars.
Okay.
And we dance at all the football games and basketball games and stuff, and I was on that team for all 4 years of high school. And this was the picture that they put up for each senior had a senior poster that was put around the fence of the stadium thing.
Okay,
So.
next one. This is you,
Graduation.
Miss Graduate.
Yeah.
What are these medals around your neck here?
So one of them was for PPI, which is positive peer influence.
Of course.
I got 2. One was freshman year, one was senior year.
Okay.
That's a selective group that a teacher has to nominate the student to get in.
Yeah.
That. And so
Okay.
she was nominated twice for that.
Okay.
The other one was I graduated cum laude. So.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh. So you're one of those smart people.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't really think I deserved it, but they gave it to me anyway.
Well, I didn't stand a chance myself. Interesting. Well, what are your future plans? What would you like to do?
I want to become something called a child life specialist. And what that is a person that's in the hospital that just helps kids and families and their siblings, patients and their siblings and their parents just cope with having a child in the hospital because, the parents and siblings would probably have a hard time with that because my family's had to go through it, so I'd like to just give back to those other families. And obviously I'd be able to relate to the kids that were going through that. And even if it's like completely different than I had going on, I can still say like I spent a lot of the time in the hospital when I was growing up, so I understand what you're going through. And they just provide like distractions and fun things to do while you're in the hospital. That way it's not so scary for them.
What are some life skills that you have learned? Cooking?
Yes, cooking. Okay, so I've learned a bunch of things, but we haven't necessarily gotten the things set up at home to be able to do those things.
Right.
So right now, all I can really do is put stuff in the microwave, and that's because we put Braille numbers on the microwave. But I'm learning. Soon I should be learning how to do my own laundry.
You did all that at SOAR. You learned.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I did it at SOAR, and then I came home and didn't do any of it.
That's the real story that she was trying to get to.
I was there for 3 weeks. I didn't learn anything.
What advice would you give to other people who have special needs?
Just take it day by day. Like, you never know what God has in store for you, and just try to stay positive, because even if you're having a bad day, you can just think, oh, well, maybe tomorrow will be a better day or something like that, or just find something. You can always find something good in a day.
Is there a boyfriend presently or in the future plans?
Not presently, but I hope to one day find someone. My sister has one.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, let's.
Well, are you open to some questions from the audience?
Yes.
Okay.
Hannah, are you planning on going to college, and where?
So yeah, I applied to St. Charles Community College, which is close to home, and I would still live at home because I don't want to live in a dorm. But yeah, I am planning to start classes once my knees get all healed up. So
You might possibly have a full ride because you're so smart, or not?
That'd be nice. I would take that.
Hannah, hey, my name is Jeff, and I wanted to ask you, you have such a positive outlook on life, and I wondered, when you were like a little girl, like say like age 5, were you always like that, or was that something that you grew into, or you always just had that kind of an outlook?
Well, I don't really remember, my dad probably knows if I was positive when I was younger, but from 12 and up is when I really remember being a positive person. But have I always been like that?
Yeah, and I can answer the pre-12-year-old. No, she was always that way. Even from a time, I can remember when she was 1.5 and had some foot surgery on both feet and was crawling around the house with 2 casts on. And it was just...
I tried going upstairs, I think,
She
too.
tried going upstairs with the cat. It was never a big deal to her, and it was never I've never ever heard her say, this is not fair. Why did I have to do this? Why is this happening to me? After one of the open heart surgeries when she was real young, we went up to, after she got healed a little bit, on one of the floors at Children's Hospital, there's an outdoor garden where they can kind of go out and just kind of, relax a little bit and see that there's flowers and plants. And she immediately started in then saying, I'm so lucky that I get to come out here because some of these kids are too sick to do this. And she would always turn it into this, rather, not only just not a why me, but as Larry was saying, just I'm lucky to get to do this. And that has just been something that I just feel like God has placed that. Her mom and I have always tried to, as you can see from the pictures, we've tried to just, say, we're not stopping traveling and doing activities and doing things because you have these things. So we've tried to instill that you are just as normal as anybody else, but she just has a God-given positivity that has been there really since the beginning, and it just has given her mom and I such a perspective if we kind of have a bad day, you kind of stand back and go, you know what, this is not really a bad day. But it's just been her character from day one.
When you're shopping in a mall, do you ask for assistance?
Nope.
You're supposed to.
I'm supposed to, but I don't, because I go shopping with my mom. But in general, I really don't like shopping, so sometimes I just have her get things for me and like send me pictures or whatever. But yes, I should be asking for help. But
You've done it at a grocery store, though.
I have with my what I call a cane teacher. She's technically an orientation and mobility specialist, which is just a person who helps you learn your cane skills. We've done that a few times, but I haven't done it by myself. But
Okay.
Hannah, it's Michelle. I've talked to you before, so it's good to see you again.
you too.
Hey, thank you. So you were talking earlier about, versus your friend Morgan, you've had to go through a grieving process because you know what it's like to lose something you had. My question to you is, have your sisters also had to, in some ways, grieve a little bit maybe for you, maybe for, the family? Or have they had any problems at all accepting for you the challenges you've had? And by the way, when I hear special needs, I just stop at special because I think you are remarkable.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a really good question. I definitely think my sisters have not had what you would call a normal sibling relationship, just because they've never known life since I'm the oldest, so they've never known life without their sister in the hospital or doctor's appointments and stuff. So I do think they've had to, grieve a little bit, just for their sister not being the same as everyone else. But I mean, as they gotten older, we kind of, they accept me as just, their sister, and we just go on and do what we would do if it was, a normal sibling relationship, which it is now, but it wasn't when we were younger, because for one thing, they just didn't understand because they were too little to know what was going on with me. But as I got older, my mom and dad have explained to them, like, yeah, Hannah's in the hospital a lot, and she has to take lots of medicine or whatever. So, yeah, they're really good about it now.
But that's a good question, though. It really does impact the entire family, and that's one thing that it gets, especially when she would have a very serious major surgery. You're obviously going to give her a lot of attention.
Yeah,
and so
I've always felt bad, like my sisters being like, jealous that my parents have to pay more attention to me, but.
So you work hard to try to incorporate them, but it does impact everyone in the family for sure.
Do your sisters come to your defense sometimes when you're out in public and other people are staring at you? Do they punch them in the mouth or anything?
They probably want to.
I've seen Morgan give some looks of death before. When
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Hannah,
Morgan really stands up for me. Lauren's more of the shy one. She doesn't really talk to people unless she really knows them. So.
I have another question here.
Yeah, Hannah, this is Marty, and I wanted to ask you, you've taken your dad to Vegas. Where's the next trip you want to go?
So, that's a good
Gotta
question.
line up, don't you?
Okay, so our next trip is going to be Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
And we are going to do it over this summer, but now we have to wait till the spring because there's lots of snow.
I had to get your knees fixed.
And
now
my knees
now we
were
got the
kind
snow
of.
is going to melt and then we'll go.
Yeah. So yeah, next trip is Mount Rushmore.
She does have one place in the entire world that is her favorite place, though, that you better mention it or you'll be sorry that you didn't.
Yeah, I would be sorry.
So you tell them where your favorite place is.
My favorite place in the entire world is a place called Give Kids the World. It's in Kissimmee, Florida. In 2011, I was granted a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. A lot of people in here might have heard of that. because of all my, they considered a heart condition life-threatening, and it has to be a life-threatening condition in order for you to have a wish. So my wish was to go to Disney World, which we had been to Disney World before as a family, but it's a whole different experience when you go as a Make-A-Wish family. So Give Kids the World is a separate village just for Wish kids. And so that was our hotel for a whole week. We stayed in a little villa there, and they have different holidays every week. Like they celebrate Christmas or Halloween on Monday and Christmas on Thursday, and Santa comes and everything, which is really cool because they do that because a lot of the kids there won't be alive to see the next Halloween or next Christmas or something. So it's a really neat place, and you can go back as alumni families. So we just went back. We took my grandparents in the audience. We took them this past March because I had told them all about it and I wanted them to see it. So it's a really neat place.
And ice cream for breakfast.
Yeah. You can eat ice cream for breakfast all day long. And as a Wish family, everything from the food and anything that you would have to pay for on a vacation, as a Wish family, everything is free. So
it's a fantastic place. Nurses and doctors and everything there. And so for a week, you get to feel you're around nothing but special needs families. And so it's kind of your universe for a week, and you just get to feel normal. And they make these kids just like they're kings and queens. So
it feels like you're on a different planet. Literally, I feel or it's not even in Florida. I feel like it's just a whole nother part of not even on Earth. It's really neat.
Your disease is 1 in a million or less. Have you encountered anyone else who has that?
So we have a Facebook page that is just, for people that have OCD. And there's one girl that lives about 30 minutes away from me that has it, and her mom and my mom were emailing back and forth, and this was shortly after I had gotten diagnosed, and she told her mom that she might want to get her daughter tested because she had a lot of the same symptoms as me, and so it turns out she had it too. And we have the same doctors and have had some of the same surgeries and stuff. So it is really rare. There's actually quite a few people in England that have it.
Really?
So.
And this only affects females, not males?
Yes, only affects females. If it's a boy, the boys won't survive. They won't even be able to be born because it just doesn't affect males. So.
How is your heart, Hannah?
So right now it's doing good. I do have a leaky pulmonary valve right now, but it's not to the point where they need to fix it. And that was what my third open heart surgery was to fix a leaky valve. But the good thing is, when it does get to the point where they need to fix it, they can do it by cath. So I won't have to go through another open heart surgery. So, and since I've gotten my pacemaker, my heart rate hasn't been up and down to where, because I was really, really tired all the time, and we didn't really know why. So, yeah, it's doing good.
Whilst you're talking about that, I've got to show you a special talent that she has. Since we're talking about the pulmonary valve replacement, what date was that you had that surgery on?
Friday, July 17, 2009.
Okay, I was going to ask you what the day of the week was, but you just said it. She remember, out of 70 surgeries, she remembers the dates and the exact date, day of the week, and you probably remember what I wear to these things.
No.
I don't know why you do it.
But yeah, I remember other people's birthdays and stuff too. And I don't really know how I do it. I just do.
Hi, Hannah. This is Dana. I met you right before we started tonight. You have faced many challenges in your life. What are 2 of your greatest accomplishments that you have done?
That is a really good question that I do not know the answer to.
just graduated high school. That's a pretty big
That's
deal.
true. He just graduated high school.
And this is about, what, your 6th or 7th time of speaking to
Yeah,
a group?
I've spoken in classrooms and at other churches before, but this is the biggest crowd that I've spoken in front
The
of.
greatest joy is being on Stories of Amazing Grace.
I
was looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to this since like January or well, I don't know, almost a year. I was like, that's gonna take so long. And then this morning when I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, it's here.
So to her dad, what do you think are a couple of her big accomplishments?
One of the things that Hannah is great at is just being a supportive friend. And we kind of talked a little bit about, some of the, she had all the physical challenges that come with it. And then as growing up, she used to have a lot of close friends. And then as the physical challenges were there and the blindness came, a lot of them, basically said, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
And so she's had to deal with the social loss of some things as well. But the thing that impresses me about Hannah is the type of friend that she is. She has a close friend that lives close to us that lost her dad last
Almost
fall.
a year ago.
And Hannah has been just amazing, supportive, ask how she's doing, is there for her, is just, we'll think of her constantly. And I think that's just one of the things, again, that she's able to not, think of just all of the issues she's dealing with, but is there as a supportive friend.
I try to think of other people.
And that is just something that she is just so good at, and has been and this is another special needs girl that doesn't have a lot of friends either, and so Hannah's has kind of been the rock to try to help her through some of these difficult times.
She's told me so many times that she doesn't know what she'd do without me, so that made me feel really good.
Is there anything that we haven't shared tonight that you want to share? Something we should know about you?
Oh, this is really random, but my right eye is not real.
Whose right eye is not real?
It's a prosthetic eye.
Your right eye is not real?
Yeah.
Oh.
I take it in and out every day.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Do we want to see that now or not? It's after Halloween, I don't know. But your left eye, that's the one that has some vision.
Yeah, I can see a little bit out of my left eye.
Yeah. Well,
I think we've covered everything else.
I just don't understand how you can be so positive, but I'm glad that you are.
A lot of people say that. They're like, if I had to go through everything you went through, I would be the most negative person on earth.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how I do it. I just am.
But do you ever long for this illness to be gone and have normal vision?
I mean, I think about what it's going to be like in heaven, where I can see perfectly.
Yeah.
Because I've never had 20/20 vision out of either eye. So, I always think about like what that's going to be like, and what it's going to be like to not have a battery-powered robot thing in your body.
Pacemaker.
Pacemaker, yeah. But I mean, to myself, sometimes I think, I don't necessarily ask why me, but like, just think about what I would be like if I was, normal, but that doesn't happen very often.
Sure. Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Standing up for you. They're standing up. Standing ovation.
And they're standing up and they're throwing money.
I think Grandpa's already got it, though.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. It's been
Thank you for having
inspirational.
me.
I think it's been a story of hope for other people who have special needs. I think you've demonstrated that relying on God is very important.
Yes.
And
I've realized that I've tried to do it on my own so many times, and I've realized I can't do it on my own.
you need
So
some
God's
outside
helped
help
me.
there, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, spiritual help.
Yeah.
Well, you're an overcomer. I think you sent me a song that we didn't play because maybe some copyright issues from the movie Overcomer. Did you see that movie?
No, I have not seen the movie, but I want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the song. It just describes my life, and
Yeah, well, you're definitely an overcomer. Thank you for being here.
thank you.
Well, this is our 41st episode of Stories of Amazing Grace. It's been my purpose to share stories of a person's walk of faith that hopefully will encourage you and inspire you in your walk of faith. I have interviewed everyone from a recovering alcoholic to a former atheist eye surgeon to a grateful recovering love and sex addict. And if you missed any of those, you might want to check storiesofamazinggrace.com. They're there for you as a resource for you, your church, or organization. That's www.storiesofamazinggrace.com. They're on YouTube and also on Facebook. We'll see you next time on Stories of Amazing Grace. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you.